Yes, people, hope you're well and welcome back to MMA Monday, where we speak about some of the things that have happened over the weekend, and also Matchmaker Monday, where I play Sean Shelby and make a potential matchup. If you haven't already, please smash that like button on the way in. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, on the way to 3,000 subscribers and getting closer and closer. In fact, I'll give you an actual update onto how many subscribers I'm actually sitting on right now. It is 2,923 people. Please, let's make that happen if you can. Right, going to be speaking about the fight that's happening on Saturday night, early hours of Sunday morning if you're in the UK. And that's UFC 309. The controversial, the great John Jones will be going up against the great Stipe Miocic for the World Heavyweight Championship of the world. And it's weird because going into this fight, most of the talk's been about Jones and Aspinall. Stipe has kind of been an afterthought. Everyone assumes that Jones is going to win. I'm no different, if I'm going to be honest. Everyone assumes Jones is going to retire after the fight. I'm 50-50 on it. Everyone assumes that Stipe is going to retire after the fight, and everyone believes that it should actually be Aspinall who's fighting against John Jones in this fight. Things have changed over the last 24 hours. So UFC Countdown comes out before every pay-per-view, and this one's no different. I'm going to play you a clip. I'm hoping to God I don't get copyrighted for this, but if I do, it's on me. It's my fault, so we'll see. Here's a clip from UFC Countdown, and here's how John Jones reacts to it.
The disrespect didn't have to happen.
So, there we go.
Bring on. The consensus ready?
See, the disrespect, you calling me a bitch, Stipe. The disrespect didn't have to happen. You're going to wish you didn't say that.
So Jones, obviously not happy. Stipe, so I think this is a little bit of a reach. He called out Stipe. He said a few cheeky things to Stipe, saying like, you better be training, you better not be a full-time firefighter when we got a fight. So he did say some cheeky things to Stipe. Obviously Stipe's called him a bitch. So obviously that's going to wind Jones up a little bit. I don't know if it's that disrespectful how he's saying it. I just think he's kind of saying it sort of in jest, tongue-in-cheek. Again, he's the one being assaulted, so how he decides to take it is up to him. This is what I don't like when Jones goes on and he mentions, obviously puts a video out of that. He goes on to post something on Twitter saying, hiring black fighters to mimic me will not help you, Stipe. And you shouldn't have called me a bitch. The disrespect wasn't necessary. Let's play. I mean, like Jones, bro, he's not hiring just predominantly black fighters, probably. Like he's hiring people who maybe have a similar skill set to you or can offer similar looks, whether it be height, reach, length, grappling. Obviously, no one in the world can mimic John Jones because he's the guy. He's the best of all time, assuming to many. So according to many. So no one's going to be able to mimic Jones. But you can bring in looks that can help you to get a feel of what he could potentially do in there. I see why you have to bring in the word black fight or the words black fight. That makes no sense to me. Like Stipe has never ever had a history of any sort of racial or race baiting. So I don't get why Jones is race baiting here. Like it's stupid. It's a stupid thing to say. Could have just left it at, don't call me a bitch. You've disrespected me. Now I'm going to get my own back on you. Like, it could have just been left there. I don't get why Jones has gone down this road or this avenue. But again, it's what Jones does sometimes. It doesn't make sense. One thing we do know that does make sense is when Jones gets in the octagon, it's usually a bad day for the next person. And I don't think it's going to be that much different on Saturday night, which we'll be doing a watch along for on this channel. Myself, Luke, and Jamie. Also, if all goes well, the debut of my actual biological brother, my brother Calvin, who some of you would have seen in the comments as well. Calvin obviously is a massive John Jones fan, and been wanting to get him on the channel for a while, and hopefully he should be able to join us for this one. So we're very much looking forward to it, and hopefully it'll be a good night with Luke, Jay, and Cal. couple of you in the comments. Shout out to John Conway. Big up yourself as always, John. Theo said, when is the fight? The fight is this weekend. And Stipe is a fight too. Good person. Stipe is a great person. From everything I've heard about him, from any time I've seen him, Stipe is a great person. So I don't get like Jones's angle here. I don't know if he's trying to get a bit more pay-per-views or try and get a bit more bite, trying to get a little bit more still. Maybe he's lacking that sort of menace towards Stipe, because Stipe doesn't give you a lot to be menacing towards him. So maybe he's just trying to build up some sort of animosity to help him get over the line with, as it pertains to weight. Well, he's not weight cutting now, but as it pertains to just getting over the line with his preparation. Want to move on to Pantoja. So Pantoja now is going to be defending his title very, very soon. And he spoke about the fact that Asakura will be getting a title shot on his debut, the rising champion. And this is what he had to say. He basically spoke about it. So I'm going to play the clip from MMA Junkie, and would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it, because I think it's a weird situation, especially when you've got Kai France there. Martin says, looking forward to see Calvin cry if Jones. Yeah, big up the Sanderson. Big up yourself, bro. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how Calvin's going to react if Stipe wins, if he pulls off the unimaginable. But I don't see it happening. But look, here's what Pantoja had to say about his upcoming fight with Asakura.
Asakura fighting for the title in his first UFC fight, considering that you had to claw your way up to the belt?
I think it's all about time, the life is about time, and in that time right now, I think that makes sense, I think nobody can, I don't need to apologize for anyone in the division, because everybody have a good fight to do it, Bring Kai Asakura, of course, that's the crossover, yeah? That's what every hater in UFC talking about. UFC need to make a crossover to blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then when UFC did that, the hater come back and say, hey, Asakura don't deserve fight for the belt. But especially in my division, if you take I love Rival too. That's a beautiful fight. What he did it with Taira, that contender, super fresh guy, Japanese. Beautiful fight. I love to watch the grappling, the fight style. But of course, Rival lost for me twice, and I think it makes sense, And this time, nobody can say nothing, and that's good for the all division too, because after my fight with Asakura, everybody gonna get the opportunity to fight with this guy too. He's good for the crowd, for the all division.
So Pantoja's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. One thing I kind of disagree though is he should be the person fight. I think it should be Kai France. If Kai France hadn't won his last fight in spectacular fashion against a fighter, let's be real, who took Pantoja to the absolute limit, then I'd be saying, yeah, it's got to be Asakura, and it makes sense, it's fun. Kai France was right there. And from everything I've read and seen, Kai wasn't carrying an injury, there was no suspension because of an injury. Like, Kai was right there, and they've opted for another Kai, coincidentally, but look, obviously it's a Pantoja fight. Obviously it's a title fight. We're going to tune in and watch it. It's a weird decision for me from the organization. And look, if Asakura wins, then you'd assume Pantoja gets an immediate rematch, which means Kai's waiting even longer. If Pantoja wins, you'd assume it'd be Kai France next. But then there's talks that Pantoja could move up to 35. So it's a very weird situation. I don't know what's going on in that division. I don't understand why the decision was made, but it could be an exciting fight. I think Pantoja's got all the tools to beat Asakura. I don't know if Asakura's got all the tools to beat Pantoja. So it remains to be seen. Obviously, that headline, or that's what the co-main event for UFC 310. We'll see. Should be very interesting. Also want to speak about UFC Fight Night, which happened. Derrida made his debut and got a third round submission win over Gerald Meerschaft. A lot of people kind of dumping on Derrida because obviously he was double champion before he came over to UFC, and obviously Meerschaft isn't in the top 15, isn't considered like a top caliber level fighter or an elite fighter, and Derrida had a tough time. Obviously, ultimately got the win and got the finish, but had a tough time. So straight away, it's made people question his legitimacy and how good he could be for the UFC and how good he's going to be in the future. But look, it could have been down to a few things. Joe Mershaft gets a tough rap because he got starched by Hamzat. That's the only reason he's considered like not a top level fighter. If you actually watch all of GM3's fights, you'll see he's a top fighter. It's just that he came up against Hamzat and Hamzat just displayed knockout power and he couldn't deal with it. Derrida, I think, will have some good matchups. He's an exciting fighter. This could have been down to UFC nerves, first time in UFC, first time in the Apex, not in front of fans. So I'm unwilling to just write off Derrida. I think he could have a good future in UFC. And look, once he gets feet under the table, gets a bit more confident, comfortable, we could really see another contender emerge from the 85-pound division. But the person everyone's speaking about, and that is Prates. Another finish, another walk-off finish, this time against the veteran, the durable, robust Neil Magny. He's just brilliant. He is so exciting. And look, I mean, is smoking the way forward, guys? Because he's smoking these fighters and he's looking very, very good doing it. He calls out JDM, Jack Della Maddalena, as well as Jeff Neal. I don't think he'll get the Della Maddalena fight. I'm just going to have a look at the rankings now. I don't think he'll get that fight, but it's a smart call out. Makes sense. It's the right thing to do. Look, people clown Buckley for calling out certain fighters. Buckley's now going to fight Ian Gary. So, I mean, it makes sense to sometimes call these people out, but that welterweight division is so exciting at the moment. And look, he will now be in the top 15. Magny was ranked number 15 at the time of them fighting. He'll now move into the top 15. He may even go into the top 13. He might leapfrog Michael Venom Page potentially. At worst case scenario, he'll be number 15 in the division. And there are some nice matchups. So that is that perfect segue into MMA Mondays, Matchmaker Monday, where I pit two fights together who I think could make a lot of sense. And look, I'm going to cheat here a little bit and I'm going to take on Prates's his suggestion. Jeff Neal, Hands of Stone Neal versus Prates. I like the fight. I like it a lot. Oh, look, Prates has got 2 knockout KO wins in his last 2 fights, but you wouldn't say he steps in there with whether it be Li Jiang or Neil Magny with 2 hard-hitting welterweights. Jeff Neal is a hard-hitting welterweight. And when you're a strong puncher, but you know there's very little threat coming back, you can double down and sit down on your punches and you can close distance without much fear. You can't do that with Jeff Neal. If you do that with Jeff Neal, you will end up going to sleep. So I really like that fight. If it weren't to be Jeff Neal, I do like him fighting Michael Morales. I know they're 2 young, up-and-coming fighters in terms of name, etc. Michael Morales is quite young. I do like that fight, though. I do really like that fight. So look, people, that's it for me. It's going to be a very busy week. Got Combat Catch Up tomorrow. We'll have a preview on Luke's channel for UFC 309. I'll have a 5-minute preview. Also going to be previewing Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I'll be doing a watch along for Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson on Friday night. And I'll also be doing a watch along for UFC 309 as well. And then have recaps and reviews for those fights as well. So busy week here, guys. If you haven't already, please do smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. It's been a pleasure as always, people. Switch on the notification bells, and before I go, make sure you subscribe to the Sanderson Show. Take it easy, everyone. See you later.